Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. Welcome to our most recent edition of Agent U. Laura and I are super excited to have Kelly Fritchman here today to teach us about phishing attacks. Not the kind that involve your fishing rod, but the kind that involve your computer and your email, and many other forms that we've actually found out. Kelly's going to go a little bit into some some AI phishing, which is super interesting because, as we all know, AI is a hot topic right now. Laura, you have anything to add here?
Yeah, we love chatting with Kelly about all of the different versions of phishing attacks that are popping up. I mean, even if you learned how to protect yourself against cyber attacks, it's changed a lot since, princes from other nations wanting you to send them thousands of dollars. And I mean, it's getting so much more advanced, especially in the world of AI. So it's great to have him on board because you can always use a refresher on how to protect yourself online. And especially in this industry with the amount of emails that you're sending back and forth and sensitive information, like you need to refresh yourself over and over again with this and stay up to date on what kind of attacks you could be facing.
Absolutely. It's keeping you and your clients safe.
So Kelly, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and your company, how you got into the business, that sort of thing?
Yeah. So I started off in drafting, and we were doing drafting on computers. As I learned a little bit about the computer stuff, moved on to IT from drafting because it just seemed something that I excelled at, more than sitting there drawing every day.
Mhm.
And as time went on, I'm old enough that I started this when computers were new and things have just changed. And, it seems like every 3 to 4 years, this whole business changes and evolves. So I've been managing a computer company now for like about 25 years, 4 employees, and, we manage different types of networks, around Pittsburgh. I've got a presentation I can start. Let me share my screen.
Let's jump right into it.
So as I said, this is a little PowerPoint presentation, just talking about different various things in cybersecurity. Again, my name's Kelly Fritchman. I manage FLSI. We're a managed IT solution. Hit share. Oh.
There we go.
So I've been doing this for about 25 years, as I said 3 times already. I just go into a little bit, what is phishing? Phishing's various things. It's predominantly emails coming in, but as the years have, transitioned with this new AI stuff, people are attacking you different ways besides just email. But typically when they're phishing, they're phishing for your login credentials, your credit card numbers, personal information. The phishing emails have fake logos, spoofed email addresses, which mean they're fake email addresses. These emails are very convincing, and I'll show you a couple examples later on. And the goal of theirs is to get your information, sensitive information, your client's information, anything they can grab, and anything they can grab of your clients, that's a problem. An example of things to look for, when you get different emails, is this. So you might get an email, it looks like the link says google.com, but if you hover over it, you see that the link is actually not google.com. It is, phishingczar.fish. So as you are getting emails every day in your email, be aware of what you're clicking on. Don't just click on everything you receive or get. So it's very important to hover over things before you click on them. As an IT guy, this is mainly what happens every day. Somebody goes, "Oh, I got an email from so-and-so," but it wasn't necessarily from so-and-so. The first thing I do is go in and look, and then I show them, you hover over it, and this wasn't actually from them. Other things, email attachments, be aware of the attachments that you're getting in email. PDF files are the most predominant one that have hidden things, malicious information or malicious code, I should say, in the email attachments, and you don't want to open them. But other things like, I get phone calls from users, and they may say, "Oh, I have a voicemail," and I tried to open this voicemail. My first question is, do you typically get voicemails in your email every day? And 99% of the time they're like, "No, I don't." I'm like, so then Kelly's the IT guy says, "Well, why did you open it? Why did you pick that file to open and then create, havoc for yourself and the IT people?" Another thing to be careful of, entering your credentials on the web. About 95% of the websites now are all secure, but please be aware, if you're purchasing something on the internet, you have to log into anything. Just make sure that you're seeing the secure lock up in the URL. So, google.com is now all pretty much HTTPS. And you can see here that we have the lock on there. So just always double check anytime you're entering anything secure, like your credentials for a website, your bank information, anything you're buying something, make sure it has HTTPS written there. A big thing, just simply do not believe everything you see. The criminals are getting more convincing every day on what how they're attacking you. I have a scenario where a customer, the owner was saying that they were getting an email. I apologize. They were getting an email from the president of the company asking them to buy gift cards and send them the gift cards. They did not want anybody in the company to know, because the gift cards were going to be a gift to all the employees. So the accounting lady went out and bought the gift cards, and then the attacker then prompted to ask her, "Can you please scratch off the code on the back and send me the code too?" But luckily she stopped herself and realized, this doesn't sound right. So she stopped herself, but she still bought $1,200 worth of gift cards, and was out. She wasn't out the money, but she had to spend the $1,200 worth of gift cards on her own.
And that's sometimes tricky for employees to pick up on too, especially if they work for a team that might actually ask for those sorts of things legitimately. But I've seen some of those messages in conversations before, and they're usually very like urgent sounding, and they'll say like, "I'm in a meeting, I'm with executives, like we need this done now." And they basically just pressure you into doing it quickly because you're not thinking straight when you're being asked to do something quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, with the social engineering stuff too, is like she literally thought it was from her boss. and like you said, the desperation in the way they were asking her, she went out and got it. She was new to the job. So she was trying to impress the owner, and they did a nice job of finding people in the company. So it's a scary thought. So, be careful. Another thing I always say is like, pick the phone up and call the person, get some, voice communication with them to say, hey, did you really send this? Did you really want me to do this wire transfer? Some, things like that. Just quick, I got some examples. So like this is an email that comes in, looks legitimate, looks like it came from Netflix. So, I mean, the first thing you would do is, you see that it's coming in from someone, Netflix account update. But if you actually look at it, it says Netflix security at customer-portal.info. That is, not coming from Netflix. Netflix is not going to send you an email about asking for your username or password from a different domain than what they use. It might say security.netflix, but as you can see, there's no mention of Netflix after the @ symbol. So it's not like it's coming from them. Here's another one. So, spammers, sometimes are from foreign countries. They don't spell the same way as we do in America. And you watch for misspellings in the emails coming from spammers. Another one that looks 100% legitimate, looks like Amazon, they might have your name coded in here. So just be careful of what you're clicking on. Always hover over things. Very important. This one, Bank of America, has been going around for years and years and years, and it's still in circulation. So this is an example of if you would hover over view statement, the URL might not even be HTTPS statements. They may have, a different domain, and I just added gotcha. As soon as you would click on that, you might get something installed on your computer, and then your personal information is taken. A few more that look legitimate, and this one's a big deal because a lot of people are using Office 365 nowadays. This one goes around a lot, and you might get an email asking you to change your password at Microsoft or to upgrade. And as you can see, if I would hover over this, this has nothing to do with Microsoft 365. So as an IT guy, hover, double check. If you would get hacked and you would call me, that's the first thing I'm going to double check is what we're hovering over. So another thing, FedEx, another legitimate one that looks real. They go out, grab the company's logos and stuff, and they put them in. You hover over it. It might say FedEx.mail, but the .mail should say FedEx, not .mail.com. A big new one that's going around, everybody's using a cell phone nowadays. The artificial intelligence stuff's getting stronger. People are getting text messages that appear to be from their boss, asking them to, forward money, start chatting with them. So these are getting more and more every day. So the same old thing. Pick the phone up and call the person. Say, did you really send me this? Did you really want me to update my social security number? or sending this, send this to you via text. Just use your head and go out and just pick the phone up and call the person and say, did you really send this? The texting scam stuff, things to do about that to stop blocking it. There may be some options on your phone to block spam messages. You can check with your wireless provider. They may have a third-party app to help you block text messages. Realtors, your phone number is probably everywhere. So you guys are probably getting more of these every day than you want to be. So different things, call your provider, download a third-party call blocking app. Those are possibilities.
Kelly, I actually have a question while we're on this slide. I've seen different credit card providers also have started providing services where they'll remove you from like different dark websites. Is that something that you would advise people to also consider doing?
To remove you from the dark web, 100%. I would check with the credit card companies. Do they have anything available for you? Also to watch your credit card. I have some other examples of you can actually check the dark web for your personal information. I'll go into that in a second. So this website here is called virustotal.com. I can add it to the chat. So it's just www.virustotal.com. So you guys, you're getting attachments and stuff all the time. If you're unsure of an attachment that you get, you can take it to this website and upload the file to the website. This website will check to see if it has a virus in it or not. It goes out, it looks in its database and says, oh, did anybody report this as a virus? So it double checks it. It also does URLs. So if you got a website in an email or something and you're unsure of it, you can go to virustotal.com, punch in, copy and paste the website in there, and it'll check the URL. This is something as an IT guy you use, just about every day, because questions come up. But if you're unsure of an attachment, I would highly recommend going to this site and using this. Another website, you guys, you might have IT companies, your IT manager, but you might have a personal computer at home, and you're looking for apps to install on your computer, but you go to the website, like Adobe tries to install other things like antivirus and other things on your computer. If you go to ninite.com, it has a list of about 40 different applications that you just click a button, these check boxes, and you can tell it to install on your computer, and it will go and install these things for you and skip all the third-party add-ons, so it'll be a clean install, quick and easy. So this is a tool as an IT person that I use, and you can use it personally. It's free. Been around for years, and they also have usually the most up-to-date free pieces of software out there in their list. So you could check it once in a while, see if there's anything new out there that you're interested in. Big thing with the realtors, you guys are sending and receiving lots of personal information, NPI, out every day. ask your IT guy or, whoever manages your email, how do I send secure email? 'Cause this is where the biggest thing that hackers can get into. So you're not sending secure email. Years ago, I loaded a piece of software on my computer. I grabbed Comcast's local router because they didn't change the admin password to it. They left it as default. So I was logging everything coming in and out of my router through my neighborhood. So anybody sending and receiving emails, I could read every email, all the information they could send and receive. So a simple thing to do is to call your IT guy and ask them, how do I send an encrypted message or a secure message? And typically that is just, they probably have it set up where you just put the word secure or encrypt in the subject. And then the person on the other end would have to do some multi-factor information in to open up that email. And multi-factor means that it's a multi-factor authentication. So that's two forms of authenticating. And that means either or typing a password in and getting a text or an email with a code. And as an IT guy, I'm sorry I have to do that to you guys all the time. But, years ago, my life, I made your life easier to do your job every day. And now as an IT guy, I have to make your job as difficult as I can to do your job, do your job every day, because we need to secure things, because it's just the hacking software and everything is just getting easier and easier every day. Just the obvious is the consequences, of failing these phishing things is, financial loss, them stealing your identity, the impact of business, the loss of data, and viruses on your computer. I have a slide I want to show that for some reason skipped. Apologize. Let me go back. Yes. So I'm sorry, this slide skipped over. I might have been talking and it auto forwarded. This is a great website for personal use. It's called Have I Been Pwned? So you have personal emails out there. You can go to this website, put your email address, and it will tell you how many times your personal email address has been hacked. And by hacked, I mean Adobe got hacked years ago. So if you had an Adobe account, your email and password was put out on the dark web. There's been weightlifting, gym membership companies. There's been banks. So you can go to this website. It'll tell you how many times your email address shows up on the dark web. It's kind of scary. Yeah. I would definitely go and double check this. And if you are on any list, I would go and change your password. If you have the same password on every website, that's a problem. One site may have gotten hacked, and now they have all of your passwords, and it's just a matter of time before they hit you up. So it's not a matter if you ever get hacked, it's when you're hacked, when your data is going to be compromised. So you got to do everything you can to stop these things from happening. Yeah, and just some little things, in conclusion of my, presentation here. Just be smart about things. Hover over, don't click. If it's a questionable email, question it. Hover over it, don't click on it. Like I said a few times, call the person that sent you the email. Double check it. If they're sitting in the office next to you, don't change a wire transfer. Get up and go ask them, did you ask me to change this wire transfer? I've had that happen, where the accountant's sitting next to the president. They've changed the wire. I'm like, why didn't you just get up and go ask him? He never asked you to wire money, but they did. Cue your skeptical voice in your head. Was I expecting that package? Did I send a package to someone? Did I ask for text notifications from this company? It's just, as an IT guy, these things are obvious to me because I see so many every day. But, to you guys, you're getting so many things because you're so busy working every day. Just take the extra split second and hover over it, question it. But I think that's all I got with this part of my presentation.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you made, Kelly. Thank you for going through all of that. It takes like a second for that little box to pop up when you hover over it. Just make that a habit to do that, because you just never know. Or if you have to call or go directly to the website, don't click that link. Just go in another browser, type in the website and check within your account to verify what that message is saying. Like, yeah, it's inconvenient to do that, but it's a lot more inconvenient to be hacked and have all of your personal information
back. Yeah.
That's crazy. You were talking a little bit about passwords at the end there, Kelly. Do you have any best practices that you suggest for creating strong passwords? And I know there's nowadays, because strong passwords have become more and more complex, there's a lot of platforms out there for like password keepers. Like, do you suggest having those? Are there any platforms specifically that you trust to keep track of all of that?
Yeah, there's some various ones. LastPass is one. Keeper. I would use, it's keeper.com.
I use Keeper. It's great.
Yeah. So LastPass, we'll tell another little hacking story. LastPass was hacked. So they didn't hack into the database. They hacked into, there was 4 people in the country that had the encryption keys for the database. They got into one of those 4 people's computer through their video sharing service.
Oh.
And they hacked into the video sharing service, which then got them into, it was their Plex account. If you guys know what a Plex account is, they got into their Plex account and then got into the person's computer and then got the keys and then had full access to the LastPass database.
Wow.
But yes, Keeper is a good one. Examples of things not to do. So it's so easy to, when you're browsing a website, to hit save password. Kelly can go to a website, download a little app, run it on your computer, and in 30 seconds, I can have a spreadsheet of every username and password that you ever saved on a website. That's very scary, so a common practice, do not check that button to save password.
That's so important too, because a lot of people do that with credit card information too, to make checkout faster.
Yeah.
You could also freeze your credit. That's a really good one to help with your identity. If you don't open credit cards often, or even if you do, just freeze your credit so that you have to unfreeze it for something to be opened. I practice that. We have a question for you, Kelly. You ready?
Yep.
Right. With the popularity of ChatGPT and other AI related tools being so common these days, is there anything specific to be on the lookout for as far as scammers or malware?
So the AI stuff is a huge problem. So an example of something to be aware of, somebody went to someone's Facebook page downloaded the voice of their child, put it in an AI reproduction app, and then typed in what they wanted the child to say to the parent. So they had the child saying, "I'm in jail. I need money right now. Please send me this money." And that was coming from a parent, the child to the parent. So it scared the daylights out of the parent, thinking that that was real.
Right.
They've went as far as, doing that already. So that's one example of just,
Yeah.
it's going to be, you're really going to have to watch,
Do you have any suggestions for implementing two-factor authentication into your necessary routine?
Yeah, you guys, you're going to all use, Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator. I'm sorry to say, but I already have like 30 different authentication codes.
Mhm.
Microsoft Authenticator, I have about 20 in there. They are changing every day. Microsoft's making it a little bit easier to get into your apps with two-factor. But that's changing every day. They just changed it again where, you have to they did make it a little easier. It's 2 numbers. It displays 2 numbers on the screen, and then you have to type the 2 numbers in the Authenticator app. But I would set it up everywhere I could, go to each website. If you're not using two-factor, I would definitely try, and as I go back in the days to make your life easier, ask your IT guys, is single sign-on available for this particular application? So single sign-on uses your Microsoft account to sign into the various apps. So you guys have multiple apps that you're logging into. It would be, if a single sign-on is available, you could sign into the app with one account, but you'd still use multi-factor on that one account. But that might help you save some time, rather than, because it takes me 10 minutes to log into my computer. But I have to be extra careful because I'm managing all these computers, and I'm going to be the target. If they get into my stuff, then they're into all of your stuff.
Right.
Managing your computers.
So always turn on the double identification. It is super easy usually. Things like Facebook, if you have the app on your phone, say someone logs in on a computer, it'll say, was this you that signed in this location? If it was you, you click yes. If no, you do what you need to do from there. But it's very convenient to use your two-factor authentication. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, and stuff like Keeper and LastPass and stuff, it may sound difficult, but it actually makes life a little easier that when you're going to these websites, you go into Keeper and you tell it to auto-generate a password for you. So it's very difficult to think of different passwords every day. So if you're just using Keeper or something, third-party app like that, I couldn't get into half of my world without my, my management software that manages my passwords.
Yep. And a lot of the easy passwords, to make it easier to think of, is something related to you somehow, whether it's a pet or a kid or a birthday, things that are easy for people to find through your Facebook page or other methods. And then they just have to like run it in a software program. If they get it off of one site, they can have that password on the back end, like run it through so many sites on the internet and see how many of your accounts they can unlock all at once. So anytime you see that little box when you go onto a site and it says your password might have been compromised, you better change it immediately. And if you use that same password on other sites, you need to do the same there and make it a different password than what you're changing this first one to.
Right,
And
that's why you always use a different password, because when one is compromised, then only one is compromised, not your whole suite of passwords that you've been using for the last 20 years.
yep. And the
Yeah,
two-factor authentication, it helps. It's kind of like a little backup thing, but you shouldn't be relying on that to keep yourself secure.
and a big thing is do not keep your passwords in an Excel spreadsheet that you have password protected.
Mhm.
I can take your password protected Excel spreadsheet, type one thing in, and it will show me what that password is for that spreadsheet.
Mhm.
So password protected Excel spreadsheets with passwords in them. And nothing, don't call it passwords. You know, if you do decide to save your passwords in the password, spreadsheet, don't name it passwords. Give it some other name.
Again, coming back to just using your head.
Yeah.
Yep. I did want to ask, since, in this industry, especially, a lot of people will start to work like within local coffee shops or something on their lunch breaks and just sit down with their laptops. What do you advise regarding using like free Wi-Fi in public scenarios like that?
Yeah, the same thing. As an IT guy, I would not use the free Wi-Fi. I would connect to my own cell phone. I would set my cell phone up as a hotspot and
Which is
connect
very
it.
easy if you haven't done it before. It is just a
Yeah.
button usually, and then a password from your phone.
Yeah, because that's the same thing. I could sit there and log. I could be the hacker sitting in the coffee shop logging, people. It's just like having the default password on a router somewhere where I can just load some software and just watch the data going in and out connected to that Wi-Fi. And it's scary. If you do, you do have to connect to it as last resort, make sure you're using a VPN or something, connected back to the home network.
We've got
Yeah.
another question for you, Kelly. We have, what is the most secure place to store our passwords? Should it be a handwritten log, a locked note in our iPhone? I can say from this, on your iPhone, make sure that your texts are seeing your texts before you unlock your phone should be a no-no. Because then if someone has your phone and your two-factor identification is turned on and they log into your account and now they have your phone, they can see that passcode of your two-factor authentication. I've helped my grandpa with this. So I have been the person that can see the two-factor identification on your phone to then do the actual login. So be careful about that too.
Yeah, I would not put it on a piece of paper at your desk. That's the simplest way for me to get into your stuff if I was a hacker. I would use a third-party service to store them in. Make sure you have multi-factor getting into that third-party service. I would say, LastPass just got hacked, but sometimes what better place to be than the place that got hacked, because their security is even higher than it was in the past. But that's one, but Keeper's the other one. That's a very popular one. But I would have some third-party service to put your stuff in.
It's like an insurance at this point when you're using one of those.
Yeah, everything's cloud service now. Everybody's pushing cloud service, and another $10 a month, to keep your passwords, that life simple for you. It will save you time in the long run. It may seem a little, time consuming at first, but that half hour to just get that set up is well worth it in the long run. Especially, with the different things I've seen over the years, money getting wired to the wrong place, you know, encrypted computer systems, you know, having to buy Bitcoin and sending them to Russia, all the files on the network. It's like I said, it's not a matter of if you get hacked, it's when you get hacked. You know, that's
Right.
And don't think you know, things like antivirus and stuff have multiple levels of it. You know, make sure your company email is being scanned. You know, maybe you want to pay for an extra service at your house. You know, some antivirus for your home computers and possibly in your router. So the routers can scan for
Didn't
viruses.
even know that was an option.
Yeah. So just, you know, as many levels of protection as you can add, you're going to be better off because stuff is still going to get in. You know,
Right.
you're still going to get phishing emails. I can block the world for the companies that I manage, but there's still things going to get in.
Yeah. Are there any antivirus software brands that you prefer that you think work better?
I particularly like Bitdefender.
That's what I used, actually.
You've
I've
got
used different ones in the past. Norton, you know, Norton's a big name that everybody's heard. McAfee's another one. They're heavy on your computer. So what I mean by heavy is it will slow things down and make your workday a little bit, you know, difficult at times. But I really like Bitdefender. If you have a Windows computer, I would have, you know, search on your computer for Windows Defender. And then I would have Windows Defender running and Bitdefender in the background. So I would have two.
okay. Good info.
Backups, another thing, you know, make sure you guys are backing things up. Different things, you know, OneDrive, SharePoint, Dropbox, Google Drive. Acronis is a third-party service. It's pretty inexpensive, and it'll do cloud backups for you. You know, so like OneDrive and SharePoint, they're all backing up to the cloud. So you should have something. I wouldn't. That's more important. You know. You know, you could, as long as if you're working for a company and keep this stuff, you know, on the company network server, don't be saving it on your desktop. Try to find the network folder that it goes into, or your, you know, your company OneDrive or SharePoint. Save the files there. I definitely have abusers that I go in and have 400 icons on their desktop.
I'm surprised they fit.
It creates a folder for them eventually.
Can you imagine like one of those like rounded panoramic monitors just covered in a grid of
Folderception, folders within folders within folders.
Yeah.
yes. I just had one last question. You were showing some examples of scams. I've seen some text scams recently, like Amazon or
There's some
Netflix.
goodies these days.
Are there any like newer ones that are pretty common and seem pretty legit that you see?
Hey, so I have some, you know, where the owner of the company is being texted by, not the owner, the workers at the company, the employees are getting texted by someone saying they're the owner and asking them to do things. That one has come around a few times, I would say, in the last 6 months.
Definitely.
Uh,
So actually call up your boss and ask them
Right, just use your head. You know?
if they actually want the 500 gift cards that the number that isn't theirs texted you about.
And don't scratch them off. I mean, the lady actually went and bought $1,200 worth of gift cards on her personal account.
She really assumed the best of everything.
Yeah. 'Cause the scammer told her not to use the company money. So this stuff happens. It happens every day.
It's not rare. It is common. Don't think that you are going to be the minority and to not deal with it at some point in time.
Yep.
All right.
Right. Well, we're pretty excited to have you on here. I feel like we covered a lot of info. I just wanted to mention a couple of quick things. Again, we still have our monthly or our quarterly giveaways that we're doing. Next month, we'll be announcing the winner of this quarter. If you still haven't gotten into that yet, you can join. We'll have a link in the email that follows up this live stream. And you can give us some feedback about how the session went and like how we're doing, and you'll automatically be entered to win some Apple AirTags to keep track of the things that aren't your passwords, but your
Keep things
physical
secure.
objects. You could stick one on your written log password book if you really want to.
Bring it up to the century.
Yes. You'll get an Agent U t-shirt as well for that.
We've got some links. Kelly just shared all of the links. I went and checked out my I've been pooned. I've actually not. My email addresses are good, but I use my tools.
Yes, definitely use them. It takes a few seconds to see where that's being used at, and you can start protecting yourself today. We also have our next live stream next month. We're gonna be talking about new construction with a builder, so you definitely want to tune in for that and see how that market is doing and what opportunities are there as a real estate agent. So
yeah, and how to best leverage your relationships with builders.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. It's been great having you, Kelly. We've enjoyed talking to you and learning all of this fun cybersecurity. Right. Have a great week, month, everybody. See you later. Bye.